So the goal of this tutorial is to help you narrow down your topic and create an outline for your literature review. So by now, you probably should have chosen your topic and have done a quick Google Scholar or journal database search to try and narrow it down. Now we have to try and figure out how to create an outline. So that involves finding a couple of good reviews on your topic first, and just to see what they talk about. And write down these references as you go along. Next, you want to take a look at how many pages these reviews are. Are they short? Are they highly specific? Or are they broad and very long? You want to find a good topic that allows you to write a detailed overview of that topic within 10 to 15 pages. So it can't be too long and it can't be too short. So I usually recommend start by doing a few searches for your topic, find a few good papers, and then write down the subtopics that you're interested in, and work on the outline as you read along. So one key thing to remember is even though you have a topic, you can modify your topic as you work through your lit review. Once you finish your lit review, that's probably the best time to go through your entire literature review and finalize your topic. But in order to start a lit review, you have to start with a general understanding of what you want to talk about. So I have two examples here that I want to go through. The first example, let's just scroll down, is ion channels and drug development. So maybe I've heard on the news that there has been a lot of drug development lately targeted at ion channels. So basically using ion channels as taking advantage of ion channels to deliver drugs, for example. So to do that, I first search Google, because right now I want to find a paper or a few reviews that are interesting. So search for ion channels and drug development. Okay, so I have about 1 million results. Probably not the greatest. So we definitely have to narrow that down. So although I have looked at Google Scholar, I do want to switch to the University of Waterloo Library because it is good to compare the search results from two different databases. You can't just go with one. When you go to the University of Waterloo Library, you can go to, after you sign in through Get Access from Anywhere, you can go to Research and Journal Databases. And once you get there, you can type in whatever database you're looking for. I usually like starting with PubMed. I'm just used to it. There's Web of Science as well. That's really good, or Scopus. They're all pretty nice. I like PubMed. Just used to it because I was in biomed. So let's try ion channels, drug development. Okay, so I currently had 2 filters, and I want to bring that to your attention because it's important. When you're trying to go through articles, first, you do want to be able to read the entire article. So search for, use the filters free full text, and I don't want books and documents. I don't want clinical trials or any of these. I want a review. And I can search for the past year, 5 years, or 10 years. Let's just go with everything that's available for now. So I get 373 results for ion channels and drug development. Huge difference from the 1 million we got from Google, because it can come from anywhere, and also it could come from clinical trials. So Google Scholar, the problem with it is it's too broad. It goes through too many databases from different fields. So I like going to PubMed or Web of Science because it's highly concentrated already. So here seems like there's been a review on ion channels as therapeutic antibody targets. Seems like a good place to start. Another one that could take our paper in a different direction would be high throughput screening technologies for ion channels. I'm going to open that too. This seems pretty cool as well. It says the transient receptor potential protein is a family of ion channels that act as cellular sensors. So why don't we see that? Once again, it could be a completely different route that we take after we read a few of these articles. Let's just look at a few more. I mean, this one seems fairly interesting, but, we maybe open it as well. Scorpion venom toxins that aid in drug development. Something that just popped up here, but something that could be interesting as we read more about it. This seems very specific. Microglial ion channels as potential targets for neuroprotection in Parkinson's disease. Let's see. So far we've already selected quite a few articles. Let's start there. And so something that we've learned so far: search multiple databases, filter using free full text, and review. So look at a few good reviews and narrow down our topic. So the first one we found is ion channels as therapeutic antibody targets. Let's first take a look at the abstract, and that's something you're going to have to write too, but we're going to take a look at the abstract to see if it's something that interests us. So this paper doesn't really go through the molecular mechanisms or mechanisms of action of ion channels or drug development. It more so talks about what antibodies are currently in development and progressing towards clinical studies. So they evaluate the technical challenges of raising antibodies to membrane-spanning proteins and different ways of discovering antibody therapeutics for ion channels. It goes through a few antibody landscapes and case studies. So I would say this is probably not as molecular as one would like. It's more so an overview of what antibodies are currently in development. So let's shelf this. Here is another one. It's a high throughput screening technology for ion channels. In this review, we summarize the current HTS, high throughput screening, technologies for different ion channel classes and their applications. This could be good because if you're interested in high throughput screening technologies, maybe you'll find one that you like and just focus on that for your whole paper. So let's open that and go to free full text. So let's see. Seems like there's patch clamp, ligand binding assays, flux-based assays, fluorescence-based assays. So this is a paper that's very broad. tons and tons of different channels, tons of different ion channels, I mean, and tons of different ways of approaching studying them. So I would say this is a good paper. Let's say if you want to study high throughput screening technologies for ion channels, suggest this article here. So get the DOI, copy the link address. Let's put that there. Let's take a look at another one, TRP channels, their function and potentiality as drug targets. So TRP is a family of ion channels that act as cellular sensors as well as signal integrators. Let's see, just doing a quick read through. In this chapter, we describe the molecular pharmacology of TRP modulators and discuss their modulatory mechanisms and pharmacological actions. This could be good, and quite good as well. And if you take a look here, it has different sections: introduction, modulation of channel activity, TRPC channels as therapeutic targets for heart failure, and conclusion. Pretty much sets out the outline for your paper as well, if this is what you want. So let's take a look at this. Why don't I get the, for this, this would be TRP channels and function as drug target. So that's another one we could look at. So of course, this is going to be quite long. If I scroll down, it is very, very long. So if I were to go through this, the first thing I would do is start with an introduction. So if you were interested in TRP channels, I would start with an introduction to what is TRP, and what else could we talk about? What is TRP? And then TRPC for calcium permeable cation channels. And it apparently seems like TRPC3 and TRPC6 are emerging as critical targets in the development of drugs relevant to therapies for heart failure. So for my introduction, probably would be good to talk about TRP, TRPCs, and why those two specific ion channels are relevant for heart failure, and might as well go into a brief intro of heart failure as well, especially ones that are related to what you're studying. So then it goes into a lot of detail about different types of channel activity. And of course, you can't copy this paper exactly as is. You kind of want to go on your own route. So taking a look at this, there is a lot of detail about different types of ion channels and something that you might not be interested in, or you might be. You can skip that entire section and maybe just focus on this: TRPC channels as therapeutic targets for heart failure. So then you have an introduction. What is TRP? You might as well add in a section on, so here, your main body, you could have structure and function of TRPC channels. Like I said, you could have the same sections as an existing paper, but it just has to be in your own words and do a review of different papers. So they're using these specific papers. This is structure and function of TRPC channels. So it seems like it's a necessary component of any review that talks about TRPCs. And so this goes through some different ways of looking at TRPCs for monitoring cardiac hypertrophy. So then I would look at structure and function of TRPC channels, and then maybe a discussion of cardiac hypertrophy by inhibiting TRPC36. And as you can see, they've only gone through a little bit for each of this. Not a lot, but there are these papers that they've referenced. And so maybe it would be good to just focus in on cardiac hypertrophy and do a deeper search into each of these papers. 142. Maybe look at reference 142 and 159, 158, and do further research to narrow down your topic. But you can kind of see where I'm going. I was able to find a paper that I understood, that I can easily create an introduction for, and then find different pieces I want to talk about for the main body. Like, this is your literature review. You can talk about anything that you're interested in. So find what interests you, and then find the papers that will be able to give you a full discussion of that topic that you're interested in. So this is an example. If you wanted to do high throughput screening technologies for ion channels, you can go there and do the exact same thing I've done with the TRP channels. Let's take a quick look at another one. There was this scorpion venom toxin that aids in drug development. So this seems pretty interesting. Like I said, you could also use these for your own lit review if you'd like. This one has scorpion venom components, have multifaceted orientation against these infections and other neuronal disorders. They can model ion channels. Let's see what this has to talk about scorpion venom. So it has an introduction to scorpion venom. Scorpion venom in medicine. So scorpion venom in medicine, you could literally just take a look here and then go through an intro. Oops. Intro to scorpion venom, chemical makeup, etc., structure. Next, you can use applications to medicine. And this is actually quite nice because this review paper gives you a good overview of the different types of scorpions, the different peptides from those scorpions, and what it could be used for. So maybe you can just do a couple of searches, further searches. So applications to medicine, maybe you just want to focus on one of these. So let's say parabutyroporin and its application to medicine specifically. And then try to find additional papers for that. Same here, you have these ones, you have mucroporin, I don't know how to say this, but it has antiviral, antibiotic, and antimicrobial properties. So you could do a full review on just different scorpion venoms that are good for viral infections and see which ones there are. So this is another avenue that you could take. So for your outline, you could have intro to scorpion venom, applications to viral infections, let's say. You can have, let's just double check this. Okay, so that parabutyroporin was only good for bacterial infections. Let's just quickly switch this to something else. Some HP1090 venom peptide and its applications to medicine, or in its application and mechanism of action. You can then do a quick overview of mucroporin, mechanism of action. Or you could go antimicrobial, but if you go antimicrobial, then you get a whole bunch more different options that you can choose from. So it's just an example of what you could possibly do for your review. You then go through some conclusions and then future research. So that would be essentially 3 separate outlines now for where you just started from a broad topic. And of course, after you've come up with your outline, here you have all of these different things. Obviously, you still need more papers. So as part of your outline submission, you need to submit more papers and also a quick abstract. So after you've read those papers, what you want to do is quickly summarize everything you've read. So you'd be yourself trying to create one of these abstracts and say, scorpion venom has been studied very frequently, and there are many types of scorpion venoms, for example, and all I want to focus on would be specific peptides from different scorpions that can be applied to viral infections, and just list them out in a couple of mechanisms of action, and you have your 300 words. So as you can see, just through one example, I've gone through 3 different ways that you can narrow down your topic and essentially focus on 3 different avenues of research for your literature review. Hopefully this gives you a good overview. I will be posting other examples shortly.